What's up, ladies? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm your girl, Lorna Marie, and today for you, I'm going to be explaining to you why I homeschool. Because some of you may be like, girl, you're crazy. Why would anybody stay at home with their kids for that many hours? I'm going to explain to you in this video. I know it sounds kind of crazy to some people, and some people may be just curious. So if you're thinking about doing it or you're just curious why I homeschool, this video is for you. Now, I've already kind of explained it on my Instagram. So girl, if you're not my friend on Instagram, let's be friends. Go follow me over there. I've already answered this on my stories, but I'll be doing it in more depth here today for you guys. So if you're into this sort of video, definitely consider subscribing and hitting that little bell. I do a lot of lifestyle, mommy, and organization videos, and I would just love to have you, girl. Now, there's not going to be a lot of products down below, but I will be listing my Amazon influencer link, and it has all of my Amazon favorites. I also have a homeschool kids gift guide, all kinds of things on that, so definitely check it out. I'll also be putting my website and my Etsy store where I have a lot of printables for your planners, so I'll be listing all of those down there. Now, if you feel like depositing some positive energies, give your girl a thumbs up. I'd so appreciate it. Now, in the comments below, today's question of the day is, are you guys homeschooling or are you thinking about it? Let us know. It's so much fun to read everybody's comments and, you know, see who else is curious about it or if they're homeschooling, and it's just a nice place to not feel alone. So definitely answer the question of the day down below. Now, if you guys are ready to see why I homeschool, maybe see where I got my inspiration, and maybe give yourself some inspiration on homeschooling, then just keep watching. Like a fever, baby, I can't wait on fire, true believer, we walking on the wire. So number one, first, I believe most important is God put it in my heart. So before my son was born, I was a youth leader. I met a lot of women from church, and a lot of them do homeschool for various reasons. But I met this woman, and she was telling me about how she homeschooled. This was even before I had kids. And, you know, she was showing me her stuff and all that, and it just literally, it clicked. It clicked for me. I just knew that God called me to do it. First of all, I love teaching. Like, obviously that's why I'm here on YouTube. I love teaching and sharing and helping people. I love it. So you have to really think about, if that's not what's in your heart, homeschooling may not be for you. It's not for everybody. But the first reason is because God put it inside my heart, and I knew it's what I was called to do. Okay, so number two, I want to teach my kids the way that I want to teach them. I want to expose them to things that I want to expose them to. I don't want to drop them off at school and just trust that they're going to be learning everything that they should be learning. I want to be able to teach my kids things the way that I want to teach them, and not the way the world teaches them. And when you bring your kids to school, you leave it up a little bit more for chance. I have encountered some amazing teachers. My first and third grade teacher were absolutely amazing. It was the same person, and I got so lucky to have her twice. She literally engaged with me. I was such a good reader literally in the first grade because she made reading so much fun. I was reading chapter books like the second week of school. It was incredible. I don't think it's because I was smarter, but I just think she was such a good teacher, and I was willing to learn. So that was just a really good combination for me. And luckily enough, I had her again in the third grade. So second grade, I had a teacher who did not like children. And for me, I know there's so many amazing teachers, but there's also so many teachers that suck. I'm just gonna say it. I've encountered them. I've had my kids, I've had friends' kids, family kids members, teachers that just really aren't good. Because for me, I believe even if you get your credentials to teach, doesn't mean you should be teaching. I feel like it should be a gift. It should be something that is inside of you that you should do only if that's what you're called to do. I don't think it's for everybody. Just like homeschool's not for everybody. Like, you have to have the patience. It has to be inside of you, and you have to inspire and be able to do something like that. I also think that teachers should get paid more. They're sitting there molding your kids' minds for 8 hours a day. Like, that's a long time, you know what I mean? And, you know, 7-8 hours a day, whatever it is. But for me, I just don't want to trust someone that many hours of the days to teach my children. Because yes, there are some amazing teachers, but there's also some teachers that aren't that good. So it's just kind of like a mixed bag. And if you don't have the luxury or it's not for you to homeschool, that doesn't mean you can't give your children the same opportunities, or you can't do it. You just have less amount of time to do it. That's all that it means. And I just have more hours in the day to be able to teach my kids the stuff that I want to teach them. So anyways, like I was saying, my second grade teacher did not like children at all. And I grew up in some really rough neighborhoods. And so some of the schools that I went to, I mean, one school I had to share paper. We had to use the same, the front and the back. We had to share textbooks. They took out the music and the PE programs, like, you know, and this was just for a period of time, but still, like, I just didn't want to deal with all that. So I just wanted to be able to teach my kids the way I want to teach them, and not the things of the world, the way the world teaches them, because I teach my kids about everything. My kids are not some sheltered homeschool kids. My kids know about sex, drugs, they know about transgenders, they know about what gay means, they know all of that, because that's what worlds we're in, and that's how I choose to raise my children. Because I came from not so good areas, I was exposed to a lot of things that I shouldn't have been exposed to. But it made me realize, like, I don't want my kids to homeschool and know less. I want them to know more, but in the way that I want to teach them, and the way that I want to expose them and show them. Like, when we're out on the streets, I live in San Diego, I'm from the Bay Area, you know, I've grown up seeing things that I shouldn't see, but so do my kids. Even just driving down the street, they see homeless people on drugs, they see people blurting out things down the street. I mean, they're exposed to it. So instead of sheltering my kids and not explaining that to them, I teach them about it. I tell them what it is, and I tell them, hey, that guy might be on crystal meth. Or I say, yeah, he's just high, he smoked weed, I'm sure, or something. But I'm really honest with my children, but I feel like they're gonna be exposed to that kind of stuff anyways. But I'd rather expose it to them and explain to them what it is. Not like, whoa, man, check out this weed, it's gonna get you high. I teach them, hey, yeah, weed won't kill you, but it could definitely slow you down, and it impairs you to make good choices. And it's not good to do when you're young and you're developing, and you wanna be the best you can be and strive for more. Like, these are just things that, the way that I teach my kids, like I said, I want to be able to teach them in the way that I want to, not the way the world teaches them. So number 3 is time. A huge part of what I teach my kids is being grateful. And for me, teaching them about having gratefulness for the time that you have, because we're not promised tomorrow. And I know that sounds maybe extreme to some people or dramatic, but you're not. Bottom line is, you know, we're only on borrowed time. We're only here for a short period of time. I'm not promised tomorrow, and neither are my children. And that's the way that I live my life. And I teach my kids to always be grateful for every moment that you have. And some people, yeah, maybe this is not how you enjoy your time, is teaching your kids. That's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if this isn't for you. But for me, time is so important to me, and spending that time with my kids is super valuable to me. And girl, I am an advocate for date nights. Like, I go on a date night every single week. I spend at least 8 hours away from my kids every single week. Hallelujah, because I need it. And I'm so proud of myself to be able to do that, because a lot of moms don't. And especially being in the situation that I am, being with my kids all the time, it is so important to have that time with your spouse and to have that time to be away from your kids. I'm very strict on my schedules. I just did a whole video on my homeschool schedule, but they wind down at 7, they're in bed by 8, and that's it. I don't play. I don't like, oh, okay, maybe for tonight. We don't do that, because I need my time. So I'm very strict about those things, and I'm able to do that. And that's how the time works out for me. So also with the time, I just feel like it really brings me and my family a closeness. When people meet us and they're around my kids, people are always like, oh, I love your kids. Like, I even have a friend, she's like, I don't really like other people's kids, but I love your kids. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, why, thank you. Because my kids are awesome. Because yes, I mean, they have good personalities. I'm grateful for that. But I also think it's because I spend so much time with them, teaching them how to have manners, how to, treat other people, how to have compassion, how to be courteous of other people. I teach my kids that, and I spend every waking second and opportunity that I have with them teaching them lessons and how to act properly. Like, that is my goal. And the time that I have with them allows me to do that. I was also saying that when people meet me, they love my kids, but I think it's because our family dynamic, we are so close. Like, I took my daughter to the beach last week, and we're, hanging out on the beach or whatever. I don't know if I told you guys this story. I feel like I might have. But we're hanging out on the beach, and then she's like, I'm done. She just I'm like, what, you're done? She didn't want to be at the beach anymore, but she was the only one there. Her other brothers and sisters weren't with her. They're so used to being together. They enjoy each other's time. They have fun together, and just our dynamic, like, this is why, you know, the time is so important to me. Our closeness, it doesn't compare. I meet other families or whatever, and I know they love each other, but we are tight. And I'm just so grateful to be able to be that close with my family. I never had that growing up, so being able to share that with my kids and give that to them, because I feel like that's a gift you give your kids, you know what I mean? The closeness you share in a family and making sure everybody's tight. And I love that. So this is also on time, but this is gonna be number 4. Another reason why I homeschool is less wasted time. Now, when your kids are in school, they have breaks, they have lunch, they, you know what I mean, stop and have breaks even in the classroom, or they go here, they do transitioning and have all these things, which is fine. It works great for school, but at home, I don't have to do that. We're done by 1 o'clock. Every single day. And by 1 o'clock, they've already done their after school routine. They've had breaks. They've done like a fun little activity. They've done all that by 1 o'clock. We're done. And it's amazing. So by 1 o'clock, they're done by noon, pretty much every single day. But we finish up, close out, they have fun stuff, and they clean up and everything from 12 to 1, and we have lunch at 1 o'clock. It's a beautiful thing. So I get to finish school in less time. We also do 4 days of academic school, and we have some subjects we do every single day, but for the most part, their main stuff, we only do 4 days a week, and then we do all of our extracurricular stuff on the 5th day. So if you guys want me to go in more detail about my schedule, let me know. I just breezed over it in my last video, but I just feel like it's important for me. If you guys want to see how the dynamic works, or if you want to see it live in action, let me know that too. So number 5 is flexibility. Oh, this is number 1 for me. We travel a lot. We go to Disneyland a lot. We have some exciting stuff happening. We're getting ready to go on the road. We're going on tour, not for me, for my husband's job. So I'll explain all that later in another video. Hopefully on our other channel. We'll be starting here very soon. We're doing a travel channel, but the flexibility is everything. I can pick up, grab my stuff, and go. I can start homeschool and say, screw the schedule one day. We have something where we have to be. We can finish it at night. I can do any of that. The flexibility is amazing. I don't have to call the school and have them give me all my paperwork. It makes it so much easier. So the flexibility is major for me. All right, so number 6 is pace. This is a beautiful thing, you guys. My kids can go at their own pace. They can go ahead, they can stay behind, whatever it is, because not everybody excels in every subject. Some kids excel in math, some kids excel in language arts. It just depends on what their gifts are, who they are, where they come from. All the things that are inside of them determines how well they're gonna do at a subject. So, and not all subjects are the same or equal. So for me, being able to pace them at their own pace, and even, you know, if we're doing history, whatever it is, and it's like, whoa, this is going too fast, or, you know, like they're not grasping this, or whatever it is, I can say, let's go back. Let's reiterate all the things that we learned. Whatever it is, I can pace it. I don't have to have my kids coming home crying, saying, Mom, I don't get what's going on. Okay, I need to go back, or whatever. Like, I have that opportunity to be able to pace my kids properly without them feeling like a dum-dum, you know? They're not dum-dums, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't want your kids feeling like they're less than everybody else. Like, that is definitely not what I want. I want my kids to be empowered, feel good and inspired to learn, and not feel like just because they're behind in a subject makes them anything less than anyone else. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make our kids feel like you can conquer the world. You can do anything you set your mind to. And just because you're pacing slower in something than someone else, who cares? That's how we roll. Socialization. Yes, this is one of the reasons why I homeschool, is the socialization. So many people are like, how do you socialize them? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what happens when you go to school? What do you get in trouble for? Socializing. Because they don't want you to socialize in school. They want you to pay attention. And what better place for you to be able to pay attention in a place where there's not too many people for you to socialize with? Do my kids socialize? Like, I should have my kids come on camera and you guys can meet them and see if their lack of socialization. I think they have a little too much socializing. I can't get my kids to shut up. Like, honestly, that's the problem. They do jujitsu, they do classes outside, they go to the gym and meet people in the classes there and all that. So my kids get plenty of socialization when it's time, but I get to control the socialization. I don't just send my kids to school and hope that they're not socializing, because my kids, I promise you, they would always be in the principal's office for socializing. I just know it. So anyways, but I have the opportunity to control that and make sure that they're not socializing when they're not supposed to. And I just want to say, like, look, you guys, like, not everybody wants to homeschool or has a luxury to be able to homeschool. Maybe you need both incomes. Like, I totally get that. I don't want you to think that I'm putting down people that go to school. These are just reasons why I homeschool and the things that I don't prefer. But I could also have a list for you guys of things that I don't like about homeschooling. That could be a whole nother video, because there are plenty of reasons why I don't like homeschooling. And there's some days where I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But that's with anything. Some days you don't feel like sending your kids to school. Some days you don't want to homeschool. It's just it's all the same. There's pros and cons to everything. It's just what works best for you and what works best for your family. So this is just some of the things and the benefits of why I like to homeschool and why I don't prefer them to be at school. That's all it is. So I don't want you to think that I'm putting you down because you have to send your kids to school. There's nothing wrong with that. So please just hear me when I tell you that. So I also wanted to give you guys the definition of socialization. Number 1, the activity of mixing socially with others. Number 2, the process of learning to behave in a way that is acceptable to society. And I'm like, I don't need my children to behave the way that is acceptable to society. I don't want to trust that every parent is raising their kids correctly, because we all know that they're not. So anyways, I just thought that was interesting. I want them to grow up being who they're called to be, not who a test tells them to be or who their friends think they all want to be. You know, your kid comes home like, I want to be this because Timmy, Tommy, and whoever all want to be the same thing. And it's like, that's not what they really want to do. They're just doing that because they have the outside influence, and socialization does that. Another huge thing to me too is I don't want my kids to compare themselves to other people. And yes, we're in a world that does that. But in this moldable stage where they're just so, they just absorb everything like a sponge, and they call it the impressionable stage. And I do not want them to be in the impressionable stage thinking that they have to compare themselves to other. We're already in the day and age of social media and all that, where they think, I'm guilty of it, where I feel like I'm comparing myself to people and I need to be a certain way. I don't want my kids to start out having that. Going to school, I need this book bag, I need these shoes, I need to do these things in order to be correct or fit in. I don't want them to compare themselves to others. That is such a huge thing for me. You guys will have saw that on my morals or my values page that I have for my kids in their playbooks. It's just such a nice thing because I have more opportunities to be able to teach them these things. And if you guys don't have the opportunity, you don't homeschool, like I said, it's okay. You just have a shorter window, but you have to take that time that you have, maybe only get a half an hour of time with your kids. That's just your opportunity and your window. And it just maybe has to be a little more strategic than, because I have so many hours and all day long, I'm consistently teaching them life lessons along with their lessons that they're learning in school. That's an amazing thing. But if you don't have that, it's okay. Just know the things that you feel like are important for you to teach your kids. I feel like I could teach a whole video on what morals and values and standards you want to teach at different ages, because I feel like I do a really good job about that. Like even as young as my kids, obviously it's learning how to share and how to love and, all those things. But my kids have really good values already instilled in them, and they're still so little. So I'm grateful for that. Number 8, they have space to learn. When you're in a classroom, I had so many kids in my classroom, like it was really, really hard for me to learn. We're all sharing stuff or whatever. It's just what you have to do. It's fine. But in my house, there's just definitely space to learn and space to be open about what you say. You could have a child that's more shy and doesn't want to speak up or whatever it is. They have the space to learn here. And we get to learn things that we want to learn. We get to, hey, the kids are interested in the human body. We get to learn about the human body. Or they say, hey mom, I really want to learn about dinosaurs. I'm like, sure, let's learn about dinosaurs. We get to be creative about what they learn, as long as they're learning, as long as we're staying, within what the guidelines are for them to learn for their age range. I think it's just such a nice thing to be able to have that flexibility. I definitely try to make things as enjoyable as possible, but if we don't like a curriculum, it's out. I have such an amazing curriculum that I am using right now. I have a link for you guys down below. It is the funnest program. It's called Grammar Galaxy, and seriously, we've been doing it so far this school year. We do year round, so we've already started, but they're obsessed with it. They've had so much fun, and it actually makes them excited to learn. So definitely check the link down below. I did get the book sent to me for free, but that does not change my opinion about the books at all, because if I don't like something, it's out, whether I get it for free or not. And luckily I did, but it's amazing. You guys are gonna love it, and I would tell my friends to spend the money on it because it's absolutely worth it. So They're learning Grammar Galaxy right now for language arts, but we're using a different program last year, and it just got boring. It was just so redundant, and they were doing the same things over and over. So we're like, it's got to go. Even for math, we have a new math curriculum, and that's the beauty of it. If your kids aren't enjoying a teaching approach or a curriculum at school, they don't really have the flexibility to say, hey, get a different book, or hey, teach them in a different way. They're kind of just stuck with learning the way that they're learning. So anyways, and the space to learn, as far as like they have space and flexibility, I can say, hey, go over here, and have room where there's not too many distractions. So they really have the ability to stay focused and learn when they're supposed to learn. So number 9 is practical teaching. I have the opportunity to be able to teach my kids things that I think they'll actually use in life. And of course we do things that they're not gonna use, like dinosaurs and you know what I mean, different types of math that they won't be using, but I still like them to learn. But I also get to teach them about how to save money, how to work on their finances, what the importance is to me to tithe their money and to save part of it, and what part to spend and what percentages that those look like. And I get to teach them about how to balance their bank account, or a checkbook, or even though we don't use checkbooks, they should still learn how to balance their account, because it doesn't always reflect, right? So I get to teach them practical things that they will learn, that they will need to learn to help them throughout their life. And I think that is what is lacking in school. I feel like we are always doing things like, don't you wish somebody would have taught us that when we were kids? I feel me and my husband saying it all the time. I wish somebody taught me how to do this when I was a kid. But I get to teach my kids those things. Those are the practical things that I get to teach my kids that they actually get to use later on when they're out of my house. And like I said, if you don't homeschool, you still can teach your kids those things. You just have less opportunities and less time and less chances to do that, but you still can totally do it. And the other thing too that I love about practical teaching is I'm teaching consistently throughout our day. Say, hey, I gotta go run to the bank, something's happening. I explain to my kids what's going on, and I get to teach them as I go, like, oh, mom forgot her mom forgot her credit card, or what this means, or why you have to do it, or there's all these practical things that I'm teaching my kids as they happen in real time, instead of explaining them a story that happened to me or whatever's going on. They're learning as they go, and they have experiences that they're experiencing with me that I get to teach them about. Number 10, I absolutely love this one. They seek my approval and my husband's approval over other kids. I love this part. Like, most kids are like trying to be cool. They need to wear their hat a certain way, their pants, their shoes, they want to wear this because the other kids are doing it. My kids could care less what other kids think. Like, they almost take pride in being different. And I love that about them. I feel like a lot of homeschool kids have that. Like, my son, he's 11 years old, and he can dance, he's super handsome, he wears the nice outfits, but he'll also put on an Indiana Jones hat and walk around. Like, I'm like, but he doesn't care, and I love that about him. He is who he is. If he feels like doing something, he does it. Like, even at his school, the kids at school, they didn't like Pokemon, and their parents told them not to like Pokemon, whatever, it's fine. But Roman's like, I still like Pokemon. And I'm like, go for it, baby. You know what I mean? We learn about the way we want to learn things. I teach my kids about magic and all that stuff in the way that I want to teach them, and they know it's fantasy. So the beautiful thing is, my kids just are who they are. And even my daughter, they just love standing out. They love being different. And I feel like kids don't do that when you go to school. They're seeking the approval of other kids. My kids are always like, Mom, look at this, look at me. Mom, check this out, all day long. They want to impress me. They want to impress my husband. And that is one of my favorite things. After math, after math, that kind of doesn't make sense when I'm talking about homeschool, but after the fact, after that I'm already homeschooling them, I have learned this beautiful bonus is they're seeking my approval. So I love, love, love this. This is definitely one of the reasons why I continue to homeschool. It's also kind of an added bonus because, they'll go to jujitsu and people will be like, oh, what subject do you guys hate? They're like, oh, we don't go to school, we homeschool. They're like, oh, you homeschool, you're lucky. And they're like, yeah, we get to be in our pajamas all day. They're not always in their pajamas, but that's one of the fun things that homeschool kids get to say is sometimes we get to do our homeschool in our pajamas. So they absolutely love that. There's a couple of memes that are super hilarious too. Like, I had no idea. I'll try to find it and put it here. But it talked about homeschool kids that go to school for the first time, and it says, but what about second breakfast? I had no idea it was a thing. Me and my son were like literally in a belly laugh because we didn't have any idea. So if my babies get up or the kids get up early, they'll eat like some toast or some oatmeal or whatever, and then I get up and then I'll cook them breakfast. So that's really like they get a second breakfast, which is hilarious, you know what I mean? So we're just belly laughing or whatever. We have such a good time. Number 11, the final reason why I homeschool: goals. We got goals, people. Our goal, you know, our outcome of our children, we have these goals that we have set in mind, and being able to homeschool gives us the time, flexibility, opportunities, all those things that I listed to be able to reach our goals with our kids. I believe that our kids are arrows. We sharpen our arrows, and then when it's time, we shoot them off and set them off into the world and hope that everything that we did to teach them and, you know, put morals and values inside of them is going to stick with them. And yes, my kids are still going to make mistakes. They're still going to dibble and dabble and try, and like I'm not exempt from my kids making mistakes, for sure. But I can say that I've given every opportunity that I can to teach my kids the right way, to put the values and morals that I've been trying to instill in them. So when they come to me and they make choice, I'm like, that's not mama's fault, okay? No. I'm like, I did my best. I know I did what I needed to. And in order for my arrow to be shot off further and farther than any other arrow and to achieve the goals that they want, I have to do my best and be diligent. Like I said, you guys, homeschooling is not for everybody. There's a lot of people that I don't believe should be homeschooling. I've met a mom, she was the sweetest, nicest person, but she was like, yeah, I'm not homeschooling next year. You guys think I looked at her like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Heck no. I'm like, I was so much more proud of her as a person, as a mom, as a friend, and as a parent, to be like, wow, you're doing what's better for your kids, even if you feel like it may make you look bad or whatever negative things may come. It's not about you, it's about your kids. And if you feel like that's what's better for your kids and for your family, she did the right thing. So I'm just so grateful to her that she knew that it just wasn't for her, and now she's sending her kids back to school. And it doesn't mean she's gonna be a crappy mom or she's not gonna do those things, because she's such a good mom. When she has the time and opportunity, she's gonna do what she can, and that's the beauty of it, you know what I mean? So I just want to encourage anybody who wants to homeschool, if you're thinking about homeschooling, you can totally do it. It's not as hard as anybody thinks, but you just have to try it and see if it's for you. If you find yourself getting frustrated, or, you know what I mean? Yes, so everyone has frustrating moments. I have them all the time. But if you're finding yourself getting overly frustrated, or your kids aren't enjoying it, you're not enjoying it, then you just have to know when it's time to throw the towel in and say, it's not for me. But I do think it's a beautiful thing if you have, you know, if you want the opportunities and the times to be able to do the things you enjoy teaching, you can inspire people, because I feel like that's a huge thing. You have to be able to have the ability to inspire, and you have to have the ability to teach people so they can understand what you're teaching. So if you have those elements and you're interested in doing it, I think you can definitely do it. And if you're organized, but that's what my channel is for. If you need help organizing for your homeschool, you have landed on the right page. I'm here for you guys. Like I said, if you have any questions, I'm here for you. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed my why I homeschool video. I had so much fun doing this because I really do enjoy homeschooling so much. I love being here with my kids. If you enjoyed this, give your girl a thumbs up. Let me know that this is the type of video that you guys like to watch. Also, don't forget to answer that question of the day. Do you guys homeschool? Are you thinking about homeschooling? Let us know in the comments. Also, if you guys haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and hit that little bell so you guys can find out more homeschool stuff. I do organization, all that good stuff. Like I said, I'm gonna list everything I can find for you down below. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, leave me an apple emoji and let me know that you did. When you guys watch my video all the way through, it just really helps and benefits my channel. So I truly appreciate you guys. Also, don't forget to answer that question of the day. Do you guys homeschool? Are you thinking about it? And did this help you, push you to start homeschooling? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. And until next time, I'm always your girl, Lorna.